Vince, the next thing I want to mention is DC, as always, doing weird, interesting, odd things that I don't know what to feel about yet. And they are canceling a whole bunch of books, and I think most of these are kind of... Well, no, not some of these are recent books that they started, not that long ago and are already canceling. And I'm wondering how much of this is because of kind of an overhaul and retooling that they're doing leading up to their new big event, which is called Convergence, and it comes out in April. It's gonna start here in a few months. And first of all, let me mention Convergence. A lot of people are really interested to see what happens with this because there's a lot of speculation that we might be getting away from 52, and I think, or at least bringing things back to appease people that don't like 52. It looks like what might be going on, and I think this is kind of all but confirmed, is that DC is doing almost like a reverse Crisis. So instead of having a bunch of universes all coming together and colliding and then coming out of it and having one to simplify everything, we're doing the opposite of that and bringing back all the universes people like. And I think that's really kind of interesting. And
that's a great idea.
So there's a lot of talk that they may be bringing back with Convergence, that they may be bringing back the pre-52 universe and doing both of them simultaneously after that. But the thing we got to see is what they do afterwards, because they're going to have a miniseries, and during that they're going to have a whole bunch of little 2-part one-offs. I think 40 of them. There's
it is a whole bunch.
There's going to be 40 of them. This is coming off of Future's End and Earth 2's World's End, and those have been kind of leading up to this. It's also going to be really interesting to see what happens with Marvel next year, also because they've been having a whole lot of alternate universe and time-space stuff mucking up, and they're leading towards something too, and it's hard to see what's going on there. So it looks like there's a lot of potential overhaul and retooling, and it's hard to tell what's going on. But anyway, I wanted to mention some of the things that they're canceling, and on our YouTube channel, I'm hoping to get with Eric and maybe Dan and at least and talk about Convergence itself, because and kind of speculate about what's going on with all that, because it's interesting, and folks have requested that. But anyway, so but here on the radio show, I just wanted to bring up some of these titles. So they're already canceling Aquaman and the Others, Infinity Man and the Forever People. I didn't even know that was a book. Clarion, I don't know what that is. Secret Origins is already going away. Star Spangled War Stories featuring G.I. Zombie. Gee, I wonder why that didn't last. Trinity of Sin, I don't know why that lasted as long as it did, and I don't know if that's a cancellation so much as they're finally just finishing it up. I don't know. World's Finest, I'm surprised that didn't make it. I thought more people were reading that book. Arkham Manor, really? That book just started. We've had 2 issues. It was supposed to be a monthly. It's already going to be done in March. I'm getting flashes of Dark Knight before 52 started. Dark Knight had 2 issues. 52 started. It started back with issue 1. Hilarious. Batwoman, cannot believe they couldn't keep that book going. And yeah. I don't think anybody expected that to ever go away, which means they must have just not had any direction with it.
I read the first 6 issues. It was really bland.
Yeah. Well, and of course, at this point, I mean, we're 3 years after that. At this point, we've had multiple creative teams on these books. That's a good point. But I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with it because I just haven't been a big fan of that character in the first place, and I haven't been reading it. But anyway, so I don't know what's going on with that book, but I just that's sad. A lot of people are a big fan of that character, and it's sad that she's going. Green Lantern Corps and Green Lantern New Guardians. Green Lantern apparently is in trouble right now. I mean, that's a book that always has 3 or 4 titles, and we're losing 2 of their big titles. Wow. Green Lantern Corps? We had a long-running Green Lantern Corps book before 52. That book's been going on forever.
I assume they're still having a Green Lantern and maybe a Red Lantern book.
Red Lanterns is on this list.
Oh.
And of course that kind of hits me to the core because I love that book. It's one of my favorites from DC. And but I think they lost the writer for that, and there's a new guy, and it's been just okay. So and Swamp Thing. So this is what's
really?
Swamp Thing. So 52 began with bringing back Swamp Thing, making a huge deal out of that at the end of Brightest Day. Here we are 3 years later, we can't sell Swamp Thing. Yeah, okay. So it's gonna be interesting. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there in case anybody hasn't seen this list yet, and just talk about that briefly. Once again, don't know what DC's doing or where their head's at, but the idea of possibly seeing the original continuity return going alongside 52 is interesting. I think if that happens, ultimately 52 won't make it because. And we just need to stop calling it New 52 because it's been 3 years and nothing's new in comics after a few months, really. But
Old 52, here we go.
With but yeah, I think that all the people that were really excited about a reboot because they thought they could start from scratch, and a lot of people kind of bought into that and jumped on it, and it was really successful for them in the short term. I'm sure there are some of those people still there, but if they did like a Crisis type thing where within what they were reading we got back to the old universe, I think you'd keep a lot of those people.
Yeah,
especially if the stories stayed good, because the problem with 52 is that it was just really super confusing. And then a lot of the stories were not good.
I feel like at this point these guys are spinning their wheels trying to find something interesting to do. And the original idea behind Crisis on Infinite Earths, if I'm correct about this, was that it got too confusing and some of the readers didn't understand who was in what universe and who had bearing on each other. So they did.
Some of it was probably writers not being able to keep up with it too.
Oh, that's a good point. And at this point though, we're living in an information age. So if you just wanted to see if somebody was in the same universe with another person, you jump on Wikipedia.
Yeah, but it's not just a matter of who's in what universe. It's a matter of things within continuities got too convoluted and hard to keep track of, right? So it's just, this is a way that we can start over and get rid of the baggage. Yeah. It's not just a matter of we have too many universes, it's more of a matter of we've been doing this so long in the same continuity that we feel like we're tied to a continuity that we can't keep track of, and that kind of is just kind of caved in on itself.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm thinking that maybe a good reason for this to happen is that now people are a little more in the know about what they already have, and that by splitting it up, they can kind of compartmentalize things and allow them to create something that's, a little, as you were saying just now, just a little more manageable. And now they have readers who are a little more savvy and will be able to keep these things separate in their minds.
Yeah.
So maybe it's an indicator that people are reading comics, or at least they understand comics more.
Well, but I also think that a lot of it is just, okay, this was a short-term thing that we were able to capitalize on and make a whole lot of money with at the beginning, and it's not working anymore. We knew it wouldn't work in the long term, so now we got to kind of scrape something together and figure out how to, there's no way they can do it again, but how to at least keep our bottom line really stable.
I'm a little impressed that it worked for 3 years.
I don't think it quite did.
Yeah. Oh well. Maybe I'm a little impressed that they kept trying for 3 years.
Yeah. I'm just saying, they're doing fine financially, I guess, in with their major books and stuff, but they certainly have canceled a lot of things and tried a lot of weird stuff, and obviously issues with editorial and a lot of people leaving and all that kind of stuff. So there's been a lot of turmoil over there, even if the bottom line has been okay and been. Yeah, I think that they're doing at least as well as they were pre-52 right now at this point, but I don't think they're outselling Marvel.
I have no idea why they think they need to have so many ongoings. Why not have several miniseries for some of these lesser known names? Just put something out there so that people can know what it is. Maybe nobody knows, or maybe Clarion's not a terribly popular title, but maybe a 6-issue mini would sell. And then you have people who look in for back issues of that. But why do we need so many ongoing?
What we used to do is tell, and sometimes Marvel will still do this, and what's funny is they did a few of these, they did a few miniseries at the beginning of 52, where what you do is you try out a character, you tell a complete story in a small amount of comics, and then if there's a whole lot of buzz about it, and there's a lot of readership, then you do an ongoing. Yeah. But you don't start with one where you're like, we're going to have this long story, and nobody's going to read it. Anyway.
Because you can advertise the crap out of a 6-issue mini, but... people have to go back and read a bunch of back issues if they do the ongoing. I mean, how hard is that to figure out?
Well, clearly I should have just made this the topic. Before we jump into today's topic, which we probably won't be able to talk about for all that long, I do want to mention the whole weird Spider-Man thing that's going on right now with Marvel and Sony still trying to come to some kind of an agreement. I'm going to do a video on the YouTube channel with Dan about this, and we're going to speculate and do a whole hour on it. So I'm not going to deal with it a lot here, but I just wanted to mention that we will have a video about that. People have been asking me to do something on it a lot lately, and the deal is there's a lot of kind of limbo going on right now at Sony with Spider-Man, and there's not a lot of consumer confidence in what they've been doing with the character. So they're kind of scrambling to figure out what the best thing is to do with the character, because they're kind of afraid that a Amazing Spider-Man 3 would tank. They're afraid that Garfield's maybe not even gonna work out anymore, but there are people at Sony that really still want to keep him and want to keep what they have, and Marvel doesn't want that. So if they come to an agreement with Marvel, and they're trying to figure that out, I think, if they come to an agreement with Marvel, Marvel's not gonna do it. I've seen there's a list now, and I think this came out because of the Sony hack. Marvel's not going to go along with it unless they get to start the character from scratch. They've already said that if they get to use the character and they start doing solo Spider-Man movies, they're not going to do Origin again. We've had it twice. They're just going to have him already be Spider-Man. They want to put any kind of romance in the background, not have it be romance-driven stuff. You've got that part, but the superhero stuff is more in the foreground. And I mean, that could be good or bad. It just depends. But that's they want that. They want to recast the character. They want to start it from scratch and start it fresh, because they don't want to be stuck with, again, the baggage of the universe that was there already and trying to merge them. Now, I think they could probably salvage what's there and still integrate that into the current Marvel Cinematic Universe, but at the same time, I can totally see why starting over and making up a new version of it for that universe is smarter for them, for Marvel Cinematic, because of all the people that don't like that version and people that have a lot more confidence in Marvel Studios to do it better. So anyway, that's the deal right now, and a lot of people are saying Sony's not going to budge on that stuff, so we're never going to see Marvel get the character, and it's going to be interesting to see if it actually happens, or if Sony just keeps Spider-Man, keeps running with it. And I mean, at this point, Sinister Six is up in the air. I mean, who knows what's going to end up happening with the property?
What do you think, App? You think they'll budge at all?
Do I think Sony will budge?
Yeah.
I certainly don't think Marvel Studios will budge.
Okay.
There's no way Marvel Studios goes ahead with this if Sony won't move on their end and go ahead and use Garfield. That won't happen. But on Sony's end, I don't know. It sounds like there's like one big producer or like big wig at Sony who is like really, really adamant about keeping Garfield. If she won't budge, then they're stuck, and they'll just stay at a crossroads, and there will probably always be talk about maybe eventually crossing them, but Sony will keep. I think the time that they budge, if they don't just go ahead and realize that it's a smart move on their part, and I think it might be at this point. I think they would maybe make more money with if they just went ahead and let Marvel take it. And make a deal with them where they're still involved, because that's what it would be. It wouldn't be selling it back. They want to make a deal with them where Sony still gets to help them make movies and stuff. They might make more money that way. I think where they would budge if they won't right now is when they make more movies and they totally tank. Or they don't do anything like what they think they will. Because a Spider-Man movie at Marvel Studios, where the confidence is there, where most of the film's people are beloved at this point, that first Spider-Man movie, regardless, immediately makes at least $500 to $600 million.
Sweet.
And probably more than that. So just the question is, what is Sony's take of that, and is it better than would they get... would they do as well as if they put it out there themselves? It's really hard to know. You almost got to be there and know the business better than I do.
I wonder if they were to make another movie, if Sony were to make another solo movie without Marvel being involved.
Yeah.
I wonder if that would burn bridges.
That's a good question.
Because I feel like they might need another movie to tank before they decide that, or they might need a movie to really tank before they decide that they don't, or before they decide that they want Marvel to help them.
I could almost see a deal being drafted where Sony says, okay, we will agree to do this if we make a movie and the next one doesn't do this dollar amount, or whatever it is, where they actually have a contract like that, instead of them saying thanks but no thanks and then running back to them when it doesn't work. But the thing is, I don't see Marvel Studios like being at a point where they like just won't want Spider-Man at all just because they don't like the way Sony does business, because it's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I would have a really hard time seeing Marvel not wanting the care with their back, but I understand the concessions they're not willing to make.
Yeah.
I understand that. And I don't mean to just be on their side because I like the movies they make, but that makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, these people have a real solid vision right now. They know exactly what they would do with Spider-Man in the Avengers movies, in the Marvel Universe, if they had him.